Well, hello again, friends, and welcome to, I think, what is my first FS2020 live stream. I've had it for a while. You can see just in the right-hand side of the screen, you might be able to get out. I've had a little bit of experience with it, done a couple of the challenges and had to play, but not really got into it. I hope the audio levels are okay. I'm running it on the headphones because we don't need to have any ATC. So, what I wanted to get into was just to, loads of people have done loads of reviews and everything else, and I'm a bit behind the curve, obviously. I got it on Game Pass when Game Pass was £1, and then for $3.99 a month. Game Pass is not too bad, but it's now gone up to, I think, $7.99 a month, which over the course of the year adds up. So I'm probably not going to renew, just because I haven't really got into it. But anyway. Most important thing with the flight sims, personally, I think, is the training aspect. Taking usually young kids or somebody that's never flown before and getting them hoofing themselves around the sky in a relatively competent manner. The tutorials for X-Plane, personally, I think are not great. And so I haven't actually tried the flight training out yet, but I'm going to go through a couple of lessons and maybe the first one or two and see what I think of them. Having done some instruction in the past and being a PPL holder, seeing if that would give people the knowledge, get them started, get them flying competently, because of course it's a big step going from a 152 into some jets. And certainly when you're on VATSIM, that's where a lot of people really seem to struggle, is when they're trying to do something that is somewhat out of the ordinary, not autopilotable for them, versus what they've planned, given a direct to a VOR versus an FMC SID or STAR, for instance. So, it's enough of me talking for a couple of minutes. Let's just get into it. You can see this is the interface. So the settings are auto-detected. I've got the realism settings set to hard, real world, whatever they are. And we'll see how it goes. Same hardware, but just a very different experience. Anyway, if you are watching, please say hi. Somebody is, so thanks, and just let's jump into it. So, basic controls, cameras, attitude instruments, takeoff, landing, these all seem pretty reasonable. The first two are what I'm pretty much really interested in. Takeoff, landing, traffic pattern, yeah, pretty much do it in real life, but it's the upper air work, understanding how the airplane flies and how to control it, that is pretty fundamental. If you don't grasp that and it's not explained to you, then you struggle anyway. So let's have a go with lesson 1. Okay. So 152. Use pitch and roll. That's primary effects. Skew aircraft direction, well, it's not quite skewing, but 8 minutes. Okay, so pretty short lesson. Primary effects of controls would probably be maybe 20-30 minutes in the air. In reality, you can do it in about that sort of time, but of course there's a lot more to consider in reality. Other traffic, etc. And just getting used to the sensations of flight, handover, takeover control, things that you don't have to do in this. So, quite a high altitude airport. I don't know why they picked Sedona. Maybe it's just quite nice scenery, but let's see. Be nice if there was a bit of ground school. This isn't bad. Training, you'll learn about aileron flaps, rudder elevator, fine. And it points them out. That's pretty good. Maybe a little bit of an intro would be better, but explaining the aircraft axes, etc. All that ground school that is fundamental. I suppose they could have, you could include it, and you could have bits where you could skip through it if you didn't want to, but stall speed, okay, I'm not quite sure I agree with that. Let's see what the instructor's like. You can see, I mean, the loading times are not particularly quick. Terrible either. Okay, here's our aeroplane. Already. Of course, in reality, you'd have to take off and that other jazz.
Welcome to flight training. I'm your instructor, Captain Molina, but you can just call me Jess. This session, we'll get started with some basic controls. Sound good? First things first, let's get familiar with your surroundings. Don't worry, I've got the stick while you get your bearings. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today.
Okay. 14 or 12? Oh gosh, I guess. No. I don't know which those are. Don't know what they've mapped them to, so let's have a look. Okay, so 14 and 12, these ones here on my controller. It's different.
This is Red Rock territory. Beautiful, isn't it?
Ooh, bit of a stutter. Does look pretty good though. Right, left, right, up, down. So that's these. Yep. It's a little bit keen. And hold. Oh, wrong screen. Okay. Control 1. 3 back to the middle. Or 1 for custom. Okay. Could probably get used to that. The 3 looks pretty good. Let's try that. Oh, well, so that's going to be pad 3? No. Oh, that's interesting. Back to pilot view by pressing 3. Well, I'm pressing 3 and neither of those are working. Do I have to have the numlock off? No, that hasn't helped. So we're already falling down at the first hurdle. Let's try control alt 1. Okay. Well, neither of those are working, so really disaster. Okay, I'm pressing it. 3, is that going to be 2? There's 3 on here. As you can see, this is a disaster already. Is that going to be one of those? Guess not. Do we need a control 3? No. Well, I can't, so I'm already failing at that miserable hurdle. Isn't that sad? And like I say, I haven't changed anything. Wow, I could see this could get frustrating. Oh, okay, that's external stuff. So, I guess end does that. Okay, makes sense. This is genuinely a massive fail already. So, can we go into controls? We've done that, got the rudder, got the Warthog, okay. Pretty fundamental if you can't even do it. Of course, because I'm having to do that to continue. Maybe I should have tried this first off. It's back to where we were. Just not quite sure why they're not working. know that. Interesting. So we can't do any of the settings. Could pop that out. Press 3 to reset the camera. No dice. So I think we've already found a pretty substantial flaw. Gone through that. Can we see anything with the keyboards? That is set to default, so I'm not quite sure what you can do about that. You can't change it. Search by, let's have a look, cameras, here we go. Yeah, I figured those out. Cockpit camera, fine. Tried all those. So it's telling me to press 3, but then none of them. Reset control, space, or F. Try that. Okay, there we go. Pressing 3 and F did it. Wow, how incredibly irritating. Press Alt and 1.
See if you
Can
can
do that.
spot the Sedona Airport. The runway should be a pretty easy landmark to find.
Well, that's miles away now. Oh great, and holding 1 doesn't work either. Wow. I mean, talk about feedback. If this is your first experience, it's going to be irritating. It's not that. Done that. Let's have a look again, shall we? So, camera. Do we think it's going to be set POI page up? Let's try that. No. Oh, what could that possibly be? So, aircraft views. Can we focus on anything? Well, it isn't, is it? It's F. Look, so F was... set is F. Go to A, that might help. It doesn't. Wow. I'm sure there was a control for this. I know they're flying it. We're going to go into mountains at this rate. Let's have a look at any of these. Can we do focus? It's probably not going to work. But you know, these are default, so they should work. Let's focus on the airport. Maybe we're just too far away. Yeah, well, at this rate, give up. It's that bad. Try tab. Control F. T. Try that. None of these work. Well, put it this way, if I'd paid for this, I would be pretty livid. Oh great, so now I can't even see that. I know the airport is all the way back, but I have no idea how to focus. Oh, hello. Space does up. Okay, I can live with that.
There you go.
Oh,
Visual
S.
confirmation on the airport.
Oh, jeez.
Now that we're oriented, it's your turn. Time to fly this bird. The first control on our training list is the yoke. I still remember my first instructor saying the yoke is like a steering wheel. Almost. Sure, you can turn, but you can also pitch. For starters, it controls the ailerons. And the ailerons, they allow the plane to roll and bank into turns. Go ahead and try rolling to the right.
Okay, so that was pretty interesting. I'm going to do that in a second. Now, I haven't touched anything, so I assume that it is all me, right? So, the issue I have with that is you need to explain attitude flying. Around here in the mountains is probably not the best.
Go ahead and try rolling to the right.
All we've been, she hasn't told me how to do that, she hasn't told me what it looks like. And so that's not really ideal. So I can get the aeroplane in trim. I didn't like how that pitch was demonstrated, so certainly I would have done it by saying look forwards at the horizon, lower the nose pitches down, the horizon moves up, and
Go ahead and try
holding the attitude there, you'll see that the airspeed has increased. If I raise the nose up, the horizon simply moves down. Holding the attitude there, you can see the airspeed dropping, but you'd have to explain the attitude you started with. That's the demo, and then there's the teach of exactly how to do that by moving the yoke, and you follow it through in the real aeroplane. Anyway, so this is move it gently right to roll your aircraft, which is good.
Go ahead and try
But a
rolling.
demonstration would have been good. So there's the airplane rolling.
Now let's see you level back out.
Well, you haven't told me what level is, so or told me how to do it.
Good. Of course, the yoke also controls the elevator.
I wouldn't have done it that way around.
Elevator affects the plane's pitch, right?
I don't know.
That's
You haven't
the
told me.
stick. The plane starts to climb. Give it a shot.
Okay, so they're talking about climb there, and that's a secondary effect. So pulling back actually pitches the airplane up.
Valuable things in aviation are speed and altitude. But notice, when you're pitching up, your speed is decreasing.
Good?
You could add more power.
No. It's not what we're trying to
For
teach.
now, let's just pitch down. Just like that, your speed's picking up again as the nose pitches down. As you level back out, let's talk about another control, the rudders at your feet.
It's the rudder and the rudder pedals. There's no rudders. There's only one.
Rudder pedals control the aircraft's side-to-side movement, also known as yaw.
Okay, fine.
On the ground, those pedals are going to steer the plane left or right. Up here, they properly align us during turns. Try them out and watch the plane's nose skew to either side.
Okay. Skew, slip, skid, fine. Use rudder to skew aircraft nose. Okay, so let's apply some rudder.
Simple
There we
enough,
go.
right?
Secondary effect as well.
Before we go on, let's bring the plane back to straight up flight. Make sure your dashboard is aligned 3 to 4 inches below the horizon for a cruise
Okay,
attitude.
well you haven't explained horizon, but it's certainly
Okay,
better.
the last thing we're going to cover now is the throttle. If you have the need for speed happens when you cut all the power. Surprise, surprise, our altitude is decreasing.
Wouldn't necessarily go with that, but
This might be a good time for a piloting PSA. Always keep an eye on your surroundings, because nobody likes a low-flying duck. Alright, let's go ahead and throttle back up. You've left the training airspace, you need to go back.
oh god, whose fault is that? And you don't tell me how to do that.
Speed is increasing, and as long as we maintain the same attitude, our altitude will keep climbing too.
Why do we have flaps?
You're really getting the hang of your controls. Before long, you won't even need a co-pilot. Until then, if you want help with the radio or checklists or simply flying the plane, I'll be here.
Great,
You can
okay,
ask me
too
the
low.
controls when you're ready to finish your session, or keep flying. It is a great day after all.
Control Alt X, does that work?
All right,
Yes, it
I have
does.
control. Good job.
Okay, not the worst lesson, but you know what? That needed there was a lot to take in there, and I think people would pick it up more from just having guessed at what they were doing rather than having it explained. But it wasn't terrible. I think it's certainly better than the explained ones. I would have liked to have seen it broken down a bit more into a demonstration of what the effect of control was, an explanation of how to do it with a handover of control so that you're not trying to fly the airplane at the same time, and then a practice. But not terrible. So why don't we move on to the next one? Attitudes. Should have done attitudes first, to be honest. Explaining what an attitude is. So from the previous one, F and S were the keys instead of 3 and I think 1. Wonder what's going to be different in this one.
Today we're talking about attitudes of flight, how your plane is oriented relative to the horizon.
Good.
If you look outside, you can see the cockpit is just about 4 inches below the horizon line. We're flying straight with a decent rate of speed. This is the cruise attitude. Let's see how it reads on your instruments.
Okay, press 4. Well, that's not going to work, is it? So it's not 4. And this is going to be exceptionally irritating. Shall we try 1? There we go. Control 1. That's good. Nicely highlighted.
It shows your current attitude. The white line is the horizon, with the sky above and the ground below. That orange element in the middle, aligned with the horizon, that's your plane.
So it is, but visual attitudes are probably more important.
Okay, now let's see how much power the engine's generating.
So she said straight and level there, but what does that mean?
Looks like we're pushing around 2,300 revolutions per
Okay,
minute.
so that was control 3.
Combined, attitude and engine RPMs translate to aircraft performance.
Pitch and power equals performance. Fine, yeah.
Which leads us to your airspeed indicator. Now, last but not least, check your altimeter. To figure out your altitude, you always want to read the small needle first. That's how many thousands of feet up you are.
Good.
Then on to the big needle for the hundreds.
Just like a clock, that makes sense.
With our current attitude and power output, we're holding a speed of 90 knots and a stable altitude of 6,000 feet. But that's about to change. Take the stick when you're ready. Pull back slightly on the yoke to raise the nose just above the horizon.
Okay, well that wasn't me doing it.
About 2 inches. Don't pitch up too much, or the angle will be too steep to create lift. And without enough lift, we'll stall. Alright, go full throttle and start climbing. Welcome to the climb attitude.
It's a bit slow for me.
On your attitude indicator and tachometer?
It's really out of trim.
According to your altimeter, we're gaining altitude.
Well...
But we're losing airspeed even at full throttle, proving you can't avoid basic physics while making a climb. Okay, before we go on, let's get back to a cruise attitude. Ease up on the yoke and aim your nose just below the horizon. Then throttle back down to 2300 RPM.
So, we're only getting 23 about now.
We're now set up with the same
That's me
attitude
at full.
and power we had at the top of our lesson. Next up is the descent attitude. Start by reducing your RPMs to 1800. Then drop the plane's nose a bit further below the horizon. As expected, with a nose-down attitude, our altitude is decreasing, while our speed is picking up. Why don't you get us back to a cruise attitude, and we'll hit the last part of our lesson.
So, no explanation of power, attitude, trim,
Now that we
attitude,
know
power,
how to
trim.
cruise, climb, and descend, let's talk about the turn attitude. Gently pull the yoke left or right to start rolling the plane. If you take a look outside, you can see how our attitude's changed, but you can also check your instruments for the details. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees. At the top of your attitude indicator, there's a series of notches representing 10 degrees each. Use them to control your roll. Notice the more you turn, the more you need to pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude. When you're rolling out, you'll need to do the opposite. Roll and push at the same time.
So we got flap out again.
The more you know about the main attitudes of flight, the closer you get to that pilot state of mind. So keep practicing, and whenever you're done, pass me the controls.
I have no idea why the flaps are out. Control Alt X, that
Thanks.
works.
Got control now. Well done.
So yeah, not terrible, but pretty sketchy when it comes to you know, a real in-depth teach. But then I guess people don't want to be spending half an hour per lesson, although it would definitely help them out. The airplane's pretty twitchy. I'm not sure why flaps were being deployed there. It seems like flap was being deployed every time. I don't know if that's just the way I've got the controller set. Check that on this. Probably can't. No, I can't do it at the moment. So, yeah, not terrible, but you know, I mean, how long have we spent there? 11, 12 minutes with a little bit of faffing. I think it could have been done a little bit longer and a bit better, but hey, that's just what I wanted to check out. I think it's a lot better than nothing, but there's still a lot of work to do. Certainly around, like I said, in climbs, just pitching, doing nothing rather than power, attitude, trim, attitude, power, trim, like you would teach in reality. But overall, not horrific. Anyway, I think that's probably enough for this video because I'm getting a bit frustrated with the views and settings and everything. And maybe I'll do a few more later, maybe some of the challenges. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye bye for now.